Welcome back to Watching Film. Today we're going to be discussing the Cincinnati defense. We'll start with run fits because I think it's interesting how they're able to play the run so well, being based out of a three-man front and sometimes being in only a 5 or 6 man box. But they fit the run really well. They play sound, they play physical, up front and in the back end. So we'll kind of take a look through kind of how they're fitting that run out of that three-man front. How what kind of coverages they like to play. Coach Strong mentioned in his press conference this week that they like to play man. I mentioned last week in the Facebook Live after the Temple game that I think USF will probably see a lot more man as the season goes on here, just to make them win against man coverage. Teams have been able to do it a little bit against Cincinnati, but they like to play man, so I'd assume that's what you're going to see. So we'll kind of go through coverages, and a couple of different things they like to do on defense. So we're going to start with their run fits. So they're a base three-man front. 1, 2, 3. Here inside the 20, they've kind of bumped him down. A lot of times this guy will be a little bit wider, a little bit further out here. Against this kind of inside the 20, they kind of bumped him down. He's kind of the overhang player here now. Sometimes they'll be playing, and you'll see in other clips where the end will be out here, and this overhang player will be kind of off here, but it's still it may end up being the same responsibilities in the run game for their gaps. But, kind of a 6-man box with him kind of as a seventh guy here. You've got 5 linemen, a lead blocker, and a potentially with the read, you can take one of these guys out of here. So you have the numbers advantage of your UCF here against the 3-man line. And so let's kind of see how they fit the run here. So one thing they do a good job of, they're pretty physical at the point of attack. You'll see all these guys get off the ball, and very rarely do you see a ton of movement. There are times when you see it, but a lot of times there's stalemates at the line of scrimmage. These two guys have won. Here's a stalemate, and now that lets your linebackers kind of run free. So you're going to see a linebacker kind of run through here. And then they do a good job swarming to the football on defense. You'll very rarely see one guy there making a play. It's one guy, and then there's 5 or 6 other guys coming to the ball, which can be a sign of a well-coached defense when guys are looking to get to the ball. And that's one way you can cause turnovers. Somebody holds them up, next guy comes in, chainsaws at the ball, or all that kind of stuff. So rips the ball out, all that kind of stuff. So 3-man front, fitting the run really well. Again, here, this is against ECU. ECU is able to have a lot of success on them, but not a ton of it was in the run game. A lot of it was in the passing game, winning against one-on-one coverage and making difficult contested catches. But here's kind of more of their traditional look where he may be head up here, but he's outside here. You get the head up nose. 2 backers inside the tackles, 2 outside. You got man coverage. Well, this is a tough look against man coverage. You're thinking you were going to get play from the jet sweep from these guys. I'm going to bring blockers over. I'm going to get the numbers advantage. But this end does a good job just squeezing it down. And then they just create kind of a stalemate here with the 2 pullers. Then their other players are coming up to fit. And you can see just the swarm of bodies to the football. And this is especially against jet motion. So you got misdirection and then 2 guys pulling to the other side where they think they got you outnumbered. And then you fit it almost perfectly here. And this is kind of just how they play. They're sound, they're physical. They're not going to make many mistakes. You kind of have to beat them. They're not going to really beat themselves. It doesn't seem like. So here, UCF kind of throws it out here, but this gives you a look at how they may play stacked alignments. USF has shown stacked alignments. You still have your 3 men here. You see he's bumped inside like he was before. This guy's going to be will play the outside there. But you got a 6-man box. They decide to pull it and throw it. But you can see here how we're taking on a double team right there. Right here, we're getting some push in the backfield. Right here, I'm kind of stalemating the double team a little bit. Where he's going to come up and fit. He's coming off that edge to fit. And he's going to kind of, if the ball gets over the top, be over the top. So they kind of have this run covered pretty well. So they decide to throw it out there. Comes up and makes a tackle in space. They play aggressive on the back end. Their corners are pretty good. Their safeties kind of can get beat in coverage a little bit, but they're pretty sound overall. So that's another pretty good fit. So here's you see again trying more misdirection. So we're going to misdirection with the jet. We're going to misdirection with the quarterback read. And then we're going to have our H-back tight end arc around and try to pick up. You see a linebacker there string the play out and take on 2 blockers essentially, and then rally to the football for a 2-yard gain. So right here we got the jet motion. He's going to come like he's going to kick out the end and then go around. He should be inside right here. It looks like a pretty good play. The quarterback will read the end. And you're thinking with the jet motion, he's gone. I got this H-back coming to block him. Or if my tackle gets up to him, coming for the safety. So this looks like a really good play right here. But, you don't account for the linebacker here taking on 2 blockers, holding them up, and then your pursuit gets there, and now you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with an 8th coming, guys all around the football. So that's pretty good with all this handling all this mixed direction. And so then this is a way they kind of will fit the backside of run game stuff too. If USF decides they want to maybe do some quarterback run game, some zone read game, and start pulling the ball, they'll give you kind of a false read. So this play gets caught a little bit after the snap. They like to bring these outside backers up on the outside, but what they'll do is they'll give the quarterback a false read by having this end crash down. So right here, the end is crashing down, taking away the run. The quarterback reads the end, so the end crashes, so I pull it, and now I got a blitzer coming for the quarterback. So this may be something you see them do, is try to get that false read to the quarterback, make him pull it, especially with the young quarterback. So right here, they pull it, and now there's nowhere to go. And again, you can see kind of there's stalemates being created across this line. Even though there's only 3 guys, they're strong. They're not getting a lot of push. And then the scheme right there kind of gives a false read to the quarterback and runs them right into kind of a little trap. Now, they aren't perfect in run fits. They haven't given up a ton of big runs in the games I've watched. And my disclaimer every week, I'm watching YouTube uploads of TV broadcasts, so I don't have the coach's film. I haven't seen every single play, but even when they fit it all right, if you make a good block here. So here's a time where you get a little bit of movement here. You get a double team, which is what you're hoping. If I can get a double team on this down lineman back, then maybe I can get something going. Pull the tackle around. This is a really good run by the back, getting inside that block, and then good job kind of blocking on the second level, which is something that's been up and down for USF this year, is kind of that second level blocking. So there's been some games where the receivers have blocked really well, and there's been others where they kind of haven't. So they fit it all right, but still there are opportunities to make plays. They're not perfect on defense, and if you can kind of spread them out, which I imagine USF will try to do, you can run against the right here's almost a 5-man box, but he's gonna be he'll play up the run, so a 6-man box. But still, running against a 6-man box is when you are going to add a read element back here. The numbers are even. The numbers are in your favor. You got 5. Cut him out of the play. You got 5 on 5 almost, or depending on who you're reading. So you can spread them out and maybe get some numbers, but you still have to win. You have to get one win at least at the point of attack, which is tough to do against them. So they won't just sit back and kind of play just base. They'll bring pressures. They like to bring 4-man pressures, where they'll bring this 11. I think is the guy. He kind of plays middle linebacker. Sometimes they'll stack him on the nose. Sometimes he'll kind of be really close, so the nose can have a 2-way go, and then he can go, and then they'll just bring him. Sometimes so here they bring him, they disrupt the handoff and get a big fumble. And you see here, this D tackle wins too. So they both get free, fumble the snap or fumble the handoff, and they're able to recover it. So this will be this is like a 4-man pressure look. And they'll run it sometimes here as I think kind of a similar look they have. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 coming already. And I think these linebackers, so here's some backers, it appears they'll add on. So maybe if here's kind of an H-back right here, here's the tailback right there. If they stay in the block, I'm guessing these guys, once they see them staying in the block, they're going to add on to the play. So they'll add on to the blitz. If they would go out for a route, maybe they'd cover them. But since they're staying in, we'll add on. Here, they're kind of playing a 3 deep. He's kind of in man, but he's going to end up getting deep. Instead of 2 under. So again, for the most part, pretty gap sound, not giving up huge rush lanes for the quarterback or anything. Force him outside, force him to make a throw on the run. But so they'll bring 4-man pressures and add on. This is something they've showed a few times. Just now we're kind of getting more to the coverage side of it. They've showed kind of a 4 deep look or 2 high safety look. You don't see this a ton though. They'll play this sometimes. So here's kind of almost like a softer looking quarters, or it could be quarter half or something like that. But just kind of a softer coverage. And I don't think you'll see a ton of that, but it is something they show. And so if they are going to play the soft coverage and only bring 3, this is kind of, this would be kind of that BYU look. BYU liked to bring 3 and didn't blitz a ton. So this is kind of what BYU would do a little bit. But still, look at the push they're getting with these guys. Watch the nose in particular right here. Watch the over the center. Right here. Watch him. He gets some. He's getting some push. The center does a pretty good job anchoring, but he's pushed him 3 or 4 yards in the backfield. So these guys are not, these guys are stout up front. They're not soft. They're going to play physical. They're going to play stout. They're well coached. They're not going to give up a ton of ground up front. So, like I said, they don't often play that kind of softer coverage. Here's going to be a blitz concept. They like to blitz. They got some pretty interesting ones. So here's a couple I'll pull up. They'll blitz and they'll play man coverage behind it or play cover one behind it. It looks like, again, I can't see the whole field, but that's what it appears. So I think you're going to get the nose coming across. You're going to get the linebacker here, and then you're going to get the other backer wrapping around. So playing outside here, outside here. Trying to see if I can get some heads turning in the middle here, and then wrap around to get to the quarterback. So here you see, this is Tulsa doesn't do a terrible job of picking up. You got the back coming in here, but these guys are physical. The back can't keep them, and then you still have the looper or the guy wrapping coming free. And who ends up making the sack is this nose. The sack ends up being made by this nose here, who wraps all the way kind of out here. And he ends up making the play. Sheds the block there. Gets his hands up, makes a sack. But 5-man pressure, if you're not afraid to play kind of man coverage behind it, you know, you can bring these kind of things. They'll also bring, here's kind of a look at a 6-man look. So here, and this could be another add-on pressure, but coming to this A-gap out here, and he's going to add on late here. So you're going to get the nose here to engage and then take the center with him. He's going to come in this A-gap, hoping to engage the guard. Rush outside, hoping to engage the tackle. And you bring him in that vacant area. And you also will bring him. If the center, if so, maybe UCF's a 3-man slide team. So they know I'll get man-to-man here and here. Here's the 3-man slide. So I'll put 2 guys basically on the back side of the slide to make it 4-on-2. So even if the back is right, somebody's going to get free. So right here, the back gets there, but now somebody's free. So it's kind of understanding maybe how you can get the coverage to, or I'm sorry, how you can get the protection to turn in your favor, and then bring in guys to the back side of the protection where you can outnumber them. So creative blitz here. Again, well coached. They're going to slide this way, and then be man-to-man backside. There's your man. There's your man. You guys are sliding for these 2. Now these 2 are basically his responsibility. So you got 1 against 2. If you run it correctly, you should get somebody free. And they do. Force a long, bad throw. When it looks like you may have had an open guy, possibly. But, you know, I think they lie. I think they really like to play. They like to play man. Just kind of watch the technique of this corner. I think this is number 12. He's a really good player. He'll show up a little bit later on a couple different clips. But, I mean, this is really good. Playing physical, you see his hands. He's getting his hands on him. Watch him ride him, squeeze him down to the sideline to where there's no room for this ball to be thrown. You want to release outside on this go route, right? On this fade. You know, we had a coach, POR, priority, outside release. You got to do it every time. His split's probably too wide here, but watch how he just rides the receiver to the sideline. Right in his hip. in phase, as the defensive backs coach likes to say. Right in his hip, turns his head around, makes a play on the ball, ends up just batting it down. But that's just straight man coverage, and that's tough to beat. He looks like the receiver running the route here. So here's kind of another example of it. You might have an add-on here, but bringing a little bit of pressure. And then you got your safety playing over the top. So they'll play one. So here you can see them. It's 4th and 6. He's squatting on him. He's on him. He's on him. There. Then you got the safety going to play over the top. He's playing he's kind of maybe playing like almost like a trail technique. Maybe daring the quarterback to throw it there, but he's right in his hip pocket anyways. He gets back in position to make the play if this safety doesn't. Again, that's 12. He's a really good player. Safety makes a play and gets a good return. Here's a blitz they love to bring, but they'll play. There's no hiding. They like to they'll kind of bring the ends inside and then bring 2 off the edge. So right here, forces a bad throw against man coverage. But it's just 2 off the edge, and they really like to bring that, and he's bringing him from width here. He's not, tight. He's kind of wide. We're obviously a little bit late to the snap here, but they'll bring him from width and depth, so you don't really account for them in the protection scheme. And then they're manned up outside. Here's a look at kind of a similar look here. We'll jump inside, then we'll bring it 2 off the edge. Again, force a quick throw and make a good play in man coverage right here. No interference was called. Get your hand in there, knock the ball away. So, they're not going to be afraid to play man coverage against USF. I would bet you would see a lot of it, especially them being able to wrap up the division this week. They're not going to kind of come out and half step, I wouldn't imagine. They'll also kind of add in, so there's kind of so they'll bring those pressures where they'll play man. They'll also do some interesting pressures here. The thing about bringing blitzes and playing man is if you don't get there, you're in trouble. But this is an interesting one. The ends are going to engage and then drop back into coverage. So it looks like a 7-man pressure because you're getting outside. You're getting the nose. He's coming. And then the safety is coming too. So right there, it looks like I'm bringing a lot of guys. But you'll see here, you got blitz, and then there's your 2 defensive ends dropping underneath. I don't know if this was, this was after USF played and dropped Reeves for the interception. I don't know if they thought, maybe they could bait him into a similar play where they drop the defensive player underneath after showing a blitz look, maybe get him hot. But here's what happens if the blitz doesn't get home, and this is what, if USF is able to kind of protect for a little bit and give their quarterback a chance to get out of the pocket, you got a chance to make some runs, which we've seen him do quite a few times this season. But I thought an interesting wrinkle, and they show it again here. And this could, where you get here, outside. Safety is also going to add into the party here, but then the ends will come upfield and back off. Come upfield and back off. Again, maybe trying to force a hot throw and jump underneath it. There you go. Now, they may burn this play after how it worked a couple of times against ECU. ECU is able to win against man coverage and protect long enough against the blitz to make a throw on a smash concept for a touchdown. Not great job by number 3 here for Cincinnati. Kind of reaching. I think he's one of their safeties. Their corners are really good. Their safeties, it's hard to tell. There's not too much. Haven't been able to see every single play in all 22, so it's hard to tell. But the corners definitely flash. The safeties have shown some problems every now and then. But this is what can happen, if you play man coverage and you get beat. But this is what can happen the other way, right? If you're aggressive and you squat, notice here the score. ECU is up 40-35 with 4.5 minutes left. It's 3rd and 6. You convert a third down here. You're getting close to field goal range. You can kick a field goal. Maybe you win this game. Cincinnati, the corner here is going to squat on this short route, squat at the sticks kind of. And he actually beats the receiver out of his break, jumps it, and takes it back for a touchdown. So when you play that aggressive, now this isn't necessarily man coverage. When you play kind of aggressive, he's squatting at the first down stick and jumps the route. And you'll see a kind of a similar one on this final play, which I'll kind of let run as I give my final thoughts. Number 12 again, really good player. But they're not going to be afraid to get up in your face, play man coverage. They're tough up front. This is going to be a game that's a really, really tough test, I think, for USF. If they can win some of those one-on-ones like they did against ECU, they've got a shot to move the ball. But they're going to have to win some one-on-one matchups, especially in the secondary, because I don't think you're going to get a lot of soft coverage, I wouldn't imagine. So you got to win some one-on-one matchups. Hopefully maybe spread them out, get a lighter box to run into, and then win up front a little bit. It's not going to be an easy task, especially if Donovan Jennings isn't playing. And I know Jacquez Evans will take away some of your wrinkles in the run game. But even with those guys, it's going to be tough. So it's going to be an especially tough task this week. But it should be interesting to see how they attack this defense. If they have more quick game stuff with Jennings being out, if they're going to try to maybe double move these guys a little bit, because I think they may be thinking, all right, their left tackle's out. We're going to see a lot of quick game stuff. They're going to squat on routes like this. And, so maybe you can double move them and get some big plays and generate some explosive plays. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy this Saturday against Cincinnati.